This is part 2 of the nanny versus the expert. Childcare expert, lies exposed. Not that it matters to anyone except, as I said in part 1, to all the people that I have encountered in 44 years of taking care of children. And I'm going to go over her main 3 or 4 statements that all I could tolerate listening to. I've listened to a few of her interviews, podcasts she's been on, and I've looked at her book, the one book that has to do with age 0 to 3. She also has a book for older kids, but that's not my area of expertise. I'm staying in my lane. She ought to get out of the lane because she doesn't really know what she's talking about, but that's my particular opinion. So let's get into it. She has these statements in some of these interviews she's been on. The truth, she says, about daycare, nannies, and working moms, which is really no. We're stressing newborns and it's causing ADHD. I'm breaking out because I'm so mad about this. As a person who loves moms, loves children, loves babies, and has spent over 40 years taking care of children and babies, I am livid about these statements because they're so hurtful and insulting to women who have young children and future moms who might be thinking about this. Okay, I know I'm going to run off on tangents. So, another statement, the 4 big lies we tell parents, because society is just giving parents all these false ideas, that you can actually have a job and have children. All right, one of her statements. The only childcare for age 0 to 3 is the primary attachment figure, the mother only. Now, I heard this on one of these podcasts she's on. And again, she's only interviewed by, from what I've seen, mothers of young children who are innocently asking her follow-up questions, and they're very nice. They're too nice, okay? They're not coming back at her like I want to. And of course, they're feeling guilt and shame, like, oh no, I've done something wrong. All right, so she says this, only the mother can be with children from age 0 to 3. And I love this one. Love this. A father only if he's taught to be an empathetic nurturer. Okay, don't even get me started. The baby needs 2 types of figures in their life. Men and women are different. Get out of here. Men and women are different. Well, there's breakthrough knowledge. So I guess everyone is just doomed if there's no female figure, no mother figure in their house, or if it's only male figures in their house. I mean, I guess just go dig a hole in your backyard, put your baby in there, because they're doomed for ADHD, for disastrous consequences, for, as she says, I mean, it makes me so mad. I can't even. Long-term trauma, permanent damage. Write it down. Long-term trauma, permanent damage. No way around it. No way around it. If your baby's not with the mother figure constantly for the first 3 years, I'm jumping out of my skin. I can't take it. It makes me so mad. Okay. P.S. Another statement. Fathers only become important. Take note, fathers. I mean, I'm really only talking to mothers because that's her main attack, but this cracks me up. Fathers only become important when babies are mobile. So just, fathers just, take a hike. Men are unnecessary until they're mobile, because only men, are tactile and stimulating. Only men. So we women, we're not tactile and stimulating. That's odd. I thought I was. Also, another side note, another potential situation for doom here. Boys are aggressive without a father in the house. So again, start digging that hole. Because if you're an all-woman household, no man, I mean, what are you going to do? The boys are going to be aggressive. There's no father in the house. You have no chance. No chance. There are no other factors. No other factors. All right. I mean, really, aren't we just done here? I'm so late to the party. Or the funeral, whatever this is. These poor women are actually discussing this. You moms, don't fall for this. There's too much of this information out there, and then you're discussing it like, oh no. No, it's not true. I tried to make a list of pages, tried to make a list of all the children, all the babies I've taken care of, all the families, all the moms. And guess what? Nothing but success stories. Say what you will. This Erica, her supposed reasoning experience, well, that's coming up here in my notes, but her experience is extremely narrow. So, no, and no. No, it's ridiculous. The mothers must be physically, I'm quoting her, just so you all know. Disclaimer, I'm taking her quotes right off of the podcasts, the interviews, her books, although I will not buy her book. I wouldn't even check it out at the library. I looked at it, but I will not. The mother must be physically, emotionally, mentally present from birth to age 3 for the children to be successful. They will break down. Oh gosh. Oh no. All right, here's where I really get going. If you must use childcare, it has to be someone with kinship bonds. I mean, we already talked about the father. He's second rate, but he could be trained. A man could be trained. I guess he's kinship. Kinship bonds. Family or extended family. I mean, even that, she acts like that is, she's looking down her nose at you. But still, if you did that, it would only be for 1 hour, then 2 hours, then 3 hours, based on the age of the child, correspondingly. So, here's another statement. There is an idea in our society that caregiving of children is something that can be generically assigned to others, delegated like your laundry. Do I really even need to tell you, you women, most of you in the trenches of raising children or having babies, this is so condescending. It's so condescending. I want to just scream. How condescending to mothers and all parental figures. Oh, I hope it's not men. Oh, hope there are not any men trying to raise babies or children. I hope not, because you're absolutely not going to make a success of it. I don't know any mothers ever, other than I don't know a few crazy ones we see once in a while, who are delegating their babies and children like laundry. She ought to be ashamed of herself for even saying such a thing. That could not be more insulting, disrespectful, unbelievable. All right, and then back to one of her statements there. The baby feels absolute distress when the mother leaves it. Absolute distress, causing long-term trauma and permanent damage. Well, I could just parade people through. I actually just got an email this morning from the mother of the 2 boys I took care of in the 1990s, long-term. And she had the sweetest things to say and updated me on where the boys are now. Of course, they're men, not boys. And one is a lawyer in New York City, just finished clerkship with a judge. The other one is a software engineer. I mean, and they're so close. They adore their mother. They adore their father. They have a close bond as a family. And she handed those babies over. Oh, Lord, how is that possible? I remember her handing the first baby over to me when she had to walk out the door and go back to work. And it was so hard for her, but she had to. She had no choice. And then she had the second baby. And he was so tiny and she had no choice. She had to go back. And I mean, tears in the eyes. You think these mothers just, throw it over. Here's a load of laundry. Put it in. Take it. No. Loving mothers are not just dumping kids off on strangers, which is another thing she calls nannies, childcare providers, babysitter. She barely will use the word nanny. All right, well, that's funny because I have one after another that I have not seen any trauma with. One after another, after another, after another. So take heart, fathers, mothers, parental parents raising babies and children. Like, we need more stress on you. Yeah, you need more. You need more to worry about. You might be causing stress, like as if you might even have a choice to leave your babies or not. Oh, well, we're rolling in the dough, so we'll just stay home for 3 years, carry a baby around. The economy's great and money's no object. All right, so here's where I'm going to go up against her. Who has more experience? All right. How did she come to this conclusion? She was asked. Well, she's a therapist, and I wrote this down. 30 years ago in her practice, she noticed children were getting worse. All right, so first of all, she's a therapist. So who's going to a therapist? People with problem kids who are having problems. So already we've narrowed it down to a certain group of kids, okay? She noticed children were getting worse. An increase in issues. Well, duh. The world's gotten worse and worse. Yeah, probably. And so you were seeing a specific group of people. She observed these children had mothers who were the least present in their lives. I wonder, could this be a combination of things? Could there be a lot of other factors? What group of people was she dealing with? Where was she? What other variables were involved? So she started researching. These are her words. And now take note, because this is what she said. She's been researching 20 years. 20! 1981, I started taking care of children. I've got the 80s, the 90s, 22 years into the 2000s. Haven't been doing much in 2022-ish. Terrible health. I think 2023 actually did do some night nanny. Gosh, it's so much fun. I miss it. Babies and children are so, they're so much fun. And it's like now, I haven't showered. I haven't washed my hair. That goes without saying. I haven't showered. It's embarrassing. I just put clothes on over my pajamas so I can talk. So my health just rots. Not that anyone needs to hear that. No one needs to hear that. All right, so I have more experience. And I'll tell you something else. A therapist in a practice is not the same as dealing with kids every single day, babies every single day, every single night, overnight, in the day-to-day, in the trenches. Actual interactions with mothers, families, diverse families, different situations. Don't even. 20 years. Give me a break. So she's not had daily experience. She just sees patients who come in because there are problems. All right. So here's the statement of all statements. Direct quote here. Please, mothers. She might as well just take a knife out and stab all of you. All of you. All of you. I mean, all of us, mothers. I left my kids part of the time. She noticed, mothers, she noticed mothers, because she's not one of them, were abandoning children for their own desires. I don't believe in cursing, but for careers and material success, there was a great deal of misunderstanding of children's needs. And where were your kids, Miss Expert, during your career? Because she has 3 kids. Well, she leaks a little information later. This is when she noted the damage if a mother is not attached to a child from 0 to 3. In most parts of the world, the mother is carrying the child around the whole time during the first 3 years. In most parts of the world, where? Okay. And in many parts of the world, there's all kinds of other stuff going on. What are we going to do here? Let's make a chart. I mean, are we trying to copy everything from it? I mean, sure, some things might be very good ideas. Some things might be wonderful. Then she says, quote, the way I like to think about it, the mother must wear the baby on the body the first year. The way I like to think about it. So this is her opinion. Well, I love carrying babies around. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I do love it. That's why I did this for a job. I loved it. I would carry babies around day and night if I had the option. There's nobody I like spending time more with. Don't tell my husband. Kids are so fun. Babies, I mean, they're so precious. That's why I did this job. And yeah, mothers love carrying their babies around. They're also entitled to put them down. All right. Then she goes through a discussion on the nervous system. I don't have medical degrees, psychology degrees, psychiatry degrees to argue with the amygdala. I've read about that stuff before too. The stress response regulation. I'm sure that's true. I agree with that. Our brain, I do understand the whole toddler stage. I understand a lot about that. I've helped a lot of families with that, about toddlers, that they need to, their nervous system is not completely online, and that's why they get overstimulated very quickly. I've helped a lot of families work with that. I've worked with a lot of toddlers, they short circuit. We know that if you've had toddlers, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, even 4-year-olds, they short circuit easily. That's true. Baby, so her belief is that babies, you must keep all stress at zero, at nothing, by staying close to the mother. There should be nothing, no stress response allowed from their brain. All right, well, yada yada. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm just going to tell you from my experience. I mean, I've never seen a problem with that. Obviously, we're not going to let babies have massive stress, obviously. I mean, again. So, number 3 point, she has, if this attachment does not happen, and this is what she has all of you mamas worried about. If this attachment doesn't happen, children who are insecurely attached, listen up. And she sits there with like a smile on her face. Children who are insecurely attached at 12 months, 20 years later, 80% are insecurely attached and suffer from severe mental disorders. Do you know how many kids in this country are going to a childcare provider, have a childcare provider? How many working mothers there are? That would be like the whole country is everybody. I mean, so you're telling me, even if everybody did have mental disorders in this country, well, there could be a lot of reasons. Let me think. The world's a shambles. We have a million things going on Earth right now. There's a lot of stress. There are 100 reasons, 1,000 reasons. So what? There are no other factors that might contribute? No genetics, no outside events? And then, so what if his child is adopted? Has no mother in the home? No woman in the home? Oh, what if there's trauma? Other things going on during the first 12 months of a child's life or the first 3 years of a child's life? Besides not being carried around? What if the child's ignored or mistreated? Which sadly happens. I guess every single one would be doomed. Okay? And if I can help any of you mothers to just throw all this behind you. Have you ever heard that? Like, you see something, then you realize, all right, this is not true. You throw it behind you, and you never look at it again. Throw it. No more. You have other important things to think about, okay? There are other things you can think about as a mother. Things that you can address, things you can work on, and I'll talk about this later because I had some thoughts. There's no good mom, bad mom. Unless we're talking extreme cases. You know what I'm talking about. A lot of times there are not even right answer, wrong answer with raising babies and kids. A lot of times what your gut feeling is okay. There's too much information. There's too much. Back in my day, first time I was pregnant, we read What to Expect When You're Expecting, and that was it. Now it's like just more and more and more and more and more information. You could read all day long. You could research and research and research and get input from every human on the planet. And then you just keep second guessing yourself and thinking, well, maybe I should think about that. Well, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Well, what kind of parenting should I do? What kind of parent should I be? What kind of mom should I be? What kind of discipline should I do? What should I do? There's too much information. It's too much. All right, I'm off. I'm off the rails again. So let's finish with this woman. And then I am throwing her behind me because I'm done. She is not worth anyone's time. And there are many more like her. I mean, it's like, whatever, this whole trad wife thing. Should be walking around in a prom dress, making homemade fruit roll-ups and cough drops, which, by the way, please do not do. Those are choking hazards. What kind of a numbskull are you? As a nanny, as a mother, please don't be making those. You shouldn't be feeding little tiny kids those. That makes me crazy. Yeah, you're walking around in your prom dress. Give me a break. Set super mom standards. It's not real. It's so stupid. All these people just trying to make money. All right, back to her. Finally, and so not worth my breath. She brings up this whole, finishing. All this detachment stuff is producing such fragile youth. Again, there are no variables involved. Nothing about the world we live in or any other potential other problems. ADHD is, she ties this to, you leave your child. She denies that there's a genetic factor, that there are any genetic studies, and praise to, I can't think of his name, Diary of a CEO. He's so cute. When he interviewed her, he brought up the studies. He got her, and she would not back down. I love this. She said parents are responsible for an ADHD diagnosis. What? Parents are responsible? Oh, okay. I mean, I have friends with children who have ADHD. Really, they're responsible. And the weird thing about that is, the moms I know were home with their children for the first 3 years. Now that's suspicious. What do you guys think of that? So when the interviewer asked her about studies on that, I couldn't believe this. She said the parents must have done something wrong. Anyway, you did it. You caused it. If you handed your baby or your child over to a stranger, I'm talking, this is her words, a babysitter. She always loves to call nannies babysitters. Love that. She's so condescending. She choked on the word nanny, but she said a babysitter or a daycare center, and she thinks all daycare centers should be shuttered. They are horrible, as are preschools, or a nanny. Okay, so she shot him right down. What other causes are there? Oh, here's what she says. Oh my goodness. Here's her list. You caused it, parents. All your kids' problems. Your fault. I love this. Let's put as many burdens on parents as possible. Mothers, 99%, okay? Don't think the fathers get any blame. Divorce. Birth of another child. How dare you? How dare you have another kid? Parents fighting. Oh yeah, because none of us ever fight with our spouse. Good grief. I've known my husband since 1987. Lord, I hope there's no tally on fights. Moving. Don't move. Death in the family. All these things, you can control almost all of those. Not. So, I guess luck of the draw there, some of those. You can just hope and pray that some of those don't happen during those first 3 years of your child's life. So all that, your child will suffer detachment disorder, and it's ruined. Their life is ruined forever. Adulthood is destroyed. They're ruined. You're ruined too, she says. If you had this as a child, you're ruined, and you won't be able to attach to your own children, which makes me actually laugh out loud. I actually did laugh out loud a couple of times. I mean, most of the time I was fighting back. Bad words. All right, and then let's get the daycare hatred out of the way. Shutter all daycares, basically. Daycare centers and preschools. They're a complete waste of time and money and damaging. Damaging. It's her favorite word, damage. The child will be damaged by daycare. Quote, daycare is not good for socialization. It's bad for the brain, increases aggression and behavioral problems, and all detachment disorders are also increased. And then she goes on to talk about parallel play, etc. All right. I have so many counterattacks on this. A lot of the children I took care of went to a daycare center after I had them and thrived. P.S. It's not bad for their brain. Obviously, you're going to vet the location. You're going to be checking things out. You're going to take a look at who works there. You're going to do a pretty serious assessment. I mean, you're not dropping your laundry off, obviously. Not like that. You're a good mother. We all know that. You're going to check the situation out. And yes, I'm aware of parallel play at age, I think her example was age 2 or whatever, age 1, age 2. Sure. They go through those stages where they're just parallel play, but that's okay. That's not the only thing they're doing at a daycare center. Have you not had your own children, Erica? When your children are little, they still love to be around other children. They may sit next to another child, and that child's playing with a toy, and your child's playing with a toy, with this child and that child. They're playing separately, but they're still looking at each other. They're listening to each other. They have other interactions. They still love being around other children. Have you not seen how kids, when you have a new baby, the baby watches the other kids, the older kids? It's like a party. They love it. She knows nothing about pediatrics, by the way. I noticed that. And I've worked for pediatricians, and oddly enough, they left their kids with a nanny. Oh, yeah. Can't take it. So, yeah. Daycare has a lot of benefits if it's a right place, a good place with people who love children. You're going to look for that. Obviously. You're going to look for people who like being with kids, who are good to kids. Okay, mamas, don't doubt yourselves. Yes, there's often parallel play. They go through a lot of stages from 0 to 3, obviously. So, they still love many of the parts of being at a daycare. And then she says some stuff later that has to do with that, which really gets on my nervous. But, all right, let's finish this. I mean, really, you're already, no doubt, so sick of me. All right, and then here's one that really everything she says makes me mad. So she really hates any form of daycare. I think we've covered that. I think that's pretty clear. Here's one statement that just about put me over the edge. You should feel guilt at the idea that you need help. This is her statement. I'm quoting her. To hand your baby over to a stranger because you can't do it yourself. Did you hear that? Everybody interviewing her should have just wrapped up, turned her microphone off, and said, goodbye. Are you kidding? And she's a woman. She's a mother. And the next statement, quote, guilt is a good thing. Sure, in some settings that is. All right. Fourth and final point that she makes. I'm sweating under my armpits so bad because I'm so mad. And it's not just because this vehicle is getting warm. I knew I was going to get mad about this, but I wanted to finish what I start. No one past my friends, my ex-employers, etc. I mean, I'm a retired nanny. Who gives a rip is probably ever going to hear this, but I just have to do it. I'm like a pressure cooker. Letting it off. Final point, she says. I think this is the final one I wrote. I have all handwritten notes. Quality time is a narcissistic fantasy. Now, all of her statements are so easy to debunk with just simple logic. I mean, a lot of this, I just want to read it and then just look at you and say, all right, we can just say no and move on. It's stupid. But I know that a lot of you just don't know that. You haven't lived long enough. You don't have enough experience in life. You're not as old as I am. You haven't spent as much time with kids as I have. I mean, it was that way for a lot of the mamas that I worked for. I mean, it was their first interaction often with a baby when they had a baby. They had never babysat. They had never been with babies. They didn't know. And you probably you may very well not either. She says you cannot have a career and then come home and be present for your child. Staying at home from birth to age 3 is the only acceptable way to raise a successful child. Again, I say, are you kidding me? Not true. Again, a million success stories. Look around you. There are success stories. I'm sure you know people that's not true. I've seen the opposite, and I've seen children at home with moms who would have been a lot better off if they'd been taken away from the home and sent to a daycare. As I said in part 1 of this, I've had a lot of volunteering where there were mothers who, those poor kids, would have been far better off not being with those mothers for the first 3 years of their lives. And her blanket statements that just being with your mother, your flesh, the person who birthed you, that solves it all. That's all it takes. Nothing else. It doesn't matter anything else. Just carry that kid around for 3 years. That's all you need. You will be successful forever. It's so stupid. Not to mention there are plenty of mothers who stay at home and maybe ignore the child all day. Even if you carried her or him around all day, doesn't mean you did it right. Doesn't mean you took care of it. I mean, come on. There's so many other factors. All right, so I've seen both ways. I've seen a million other factors involved. And let's think about this. Let's be logical, simplify this. Let's be sensible. This is what's missing with a lot of this parenting advice I see. It's not balanced. It's not sensible. It's not logical. It's not reasonable. Well, I guess you just don't have any time to spend with your child, and that's not enough. Not enough. Even if a mom works more hours in a week, you're telling me that she can't give quality time. She can't spend time that's value with her children, with her babies. It has to be round the clock. It has to be round the clock for the first 3 years. Now, I mean, she had a few things she says that I would agree with in a general sense. I would agree that, yes, our babies are only little a short time. You do want to spend as much time as you can. And I would, if I were going to give some advice to all of you dear sweet mamas, now that I'm far, far past all this, I would say quite a few things. But, remember that it does go fast. It goes fast. And, you feel like you're juggling 100 balls in the air, but the time frame of the preschool years, for sure, is so short. So yes, if you can, spend as much time as you can with them and ignore anything you can ignore, absolutely. Looking back, I wish I had even been, as a mother, more, cared less about the house being clean and things like that. That's a whole other discussion. All right, so again, I think it's extremely disrespectful to mothers, adding guilt and like some big weight of shame on them. Especially, what are the percentages of women who even have a choice to stay home, to quit their jobs? Freak. Yeah, okay. Yeah, just quit your job. Or now she's putting a burden on women who are maybe contemplating whether or not they want to have babies. So now they're scared to death. Well, if I can't stay home and be straddled wearing a baby around me for 3 years, I mean, I want to raise the best children possible. I want to raise healthy adults. I don't want to cause damage, so I guess maybe I can't have children. Well, listen, if you're doing a pros cons list, that shouldn't be on there. There are enough factors to consider, but that is not one. Okay, yes. So, my issue is these experts, she's not the only one, they do present such a narrow definition all the time, or very narrow definitions of like the acceptable environment, the acceptable situation. Like the guidelines have to be just so narrowly defined or you can't raise a child right. It's not true. I have had the advantage also because the city I live in is so diverse. I have had the privilege of working for so many different families who came from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, different cultures, different backgrounds, different economic status. And it has been really fun because I got to know different styles of parenting. I got to, insert myself into that and learn different ways of doing things. There is not one right way. No, there is not. And to say things like that, it actually just proves how small-minded someone is. All right, so to raise physically, mentally, emotionally healthy humans to adulthood, it is a job, no question. And I have a lot of thoughts about that. What this woman is talking about is not helping mothers. That's what irritates me. Why don't we get out there? If you're going to get on a million platforms, get paid to talk, paid speaking engagements everywhere, and on podcasts and everything, and you're offering nothing that's actually helpful to mothers, that really irritates me. Because our goal as mothers should be to help each other. We're all going to benefit or suffer if children who are being raised now, babies who are born now, are not raised to be healthy, happy adults. We're all going to be living with them. We all are going to be taken care of by them. They're going to be the ones running things. They're going to be the business owners, the people working everywhere. I mean, think this through. We want all other people's children to be healthy and happy and stable, not just our own. So why are we not all working together? We should all be like momming up together instead of all this momfoolery, this fraud, and these idiotic super mom things or whatever. So these absurd, hurtful attacks just work against everything, and it just agitates me. So I think I've said all these things I wrote down. Again, there are 1,000 variables in raising a child. To narrow it to, if you don't stay home for the first 3 years, that's dumb. Number one, the main thing that covers a multitude of sins in raising a child is that you love them. You have overarching love for that child. That will cover a lot. Most. The rest you can fill in underneath that umbrella. All right. And then she's supposed to be such an expert. And I just want to take note of 3 things she said that were absolute ridiculous, bogus pediatric statements about pediatric advice. She definitely was out of her lane there. That was my lane. Get in your own lane, if you even have a lane. How to take care of babies and toddlers. That's my area. That is me. Don't be messing with me. She's made the stupid statement about daycare and parallel play. Give me a break. You obviously know nothing about little kids. Babies 1, 2, and 3. You don't know anything about, clearly. So irritating. If she's such an expert, why is she giving this dumb advice? So don't listen to people who have just clearly no interest in helping mothers and have dumb advice. Then she says, of course I can't read. Her other thing she said is, sleep training is weird and dangerous. I'm quoting. Causes stress to the brain and damage for a lifetime. Again, her favorite word, damage. It's always there. I don't like her. She does not know what she's talking about. Don't give pediatric advice. You're a therapist, okay? Stay out of my lane. The other one, she said, how to discipline a child when they want candy in a grocery store. The dumbest. I hated it. She gave some stupid advice. She started out about how you're going to talk to them. You're going to talk, and you're going to talk, and you're going to explain, and you're going to explain, and you're going to get down. And now, I'm not saying that you don't talk. I'm not saying that you don't explain. But she went on for 10 minutes about it, saying all these stupid things. Clearly doesn't know how to deal with a toddler, because he specifically asked her about a toddler. Depends on their age. Depends on their age, absolutely. But again, doesn't know what she's talking about. We could discuss. I would love to discuss. How do you deal with that? Depends on their age. But it's simple. And you don't talk and talk. And finally, she says, and this one just cranked me up so bad. Her final pediatric advice statement, or her pediatric statement. And I'll remind you, I worked for pediatricians, okay? I've worked for them. Some of the people I've worked for. This is one of her proofs that a child who is left with a babysitter, nanny, oh, she hates that word. This is one of her proofs that the child is damaged. When the mother comes home and the baby turns away from her, or the baby clings to her when she tries to go. This is proof that the mother has been leaving the baby too long, and the baby is developing the detachment disorder. She doesn't even understand normal pediatric development. That's part of the stages of their development. What? No. And all of you moms, no. Not true. That's normal. That is normal stages. That's like when they're in the, what is it, 6 to 9 months where they start having that stranger anxiety. That's a stage. Where strangers, they have to look at them for a while before, anybody they don't know, they hold back, and then all of a sudden they might cry. They go through that stage. In the beginning, they're all smiles. Everybody's fun. Everybody's great. They love everybody. And then all of a sudden, I don't know this person, and they'll burst into tears. That's a stage. This is a stage. Oh, my word. That's normal. That isn't detachment disorder. I could elaborate, but give me a break. Please stay out of the pediatric advice. All right. So, a couple things she says, and I'm done. This is it. This is the last of it. I promise. Erica, the expert, says, some careers are harder to be a mother. Really? No way! Wow, that's breakthrough. It's breakthrough information. Phew. I'm glad. I hope someone paid her for that information. You're kidding me. Some careers are harder. 2, you have a long life, but only a short time when your children are young. Good to know. Again, I hope she got paid for that information, because none of us knew that. 3, when you expand as parents, pare down materially for that early time period. Oh, okay. Just get your budget out. Get the budget out. Start chopping things off. Electricity, rent, food, gas. You're expanding as parents. Pare down materially. You don't need that stuff. By the way, side point, she slipped up a couple times in one of her interviews, and she said someone asked her how long she was at home. She was only at home 6 months with at least one of her kids. But then, lucky for her, because she has money, she was able to have a babysitter come in so she could work from home an hour a week. An hour a day when it was appropriate for that. She's got her rules. And then 2 hours a day. And then 3 hours a day until the child was old enough. Well, isn't that lucky? But that was a stranger. You let a stranger in your house. Oh, my word. I don't know. Maybe she should have been arrested. And finally, mothers should be physically attached to the baby the entire first year. Then 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours only. And, get this, should co-sleep up to age 5 years old. Again, pediatric advice we should not be giving. You don't want your child co-sleeping up to age 5. Oh, my word. That's a recipe for disaster and long-term problems. Okay, final thoughts. And I will just say, I am not going to say I know everything. I believe that all moms, all of us, should be humble. I believe that I always have things to learn. So enough with expert research and too much information out there, because there's so much fraud, fake garbage on the internet, and you need to go with your gut sometimes if you're listening to me. I think of you as daughters. And I have love for all of you mamas. It's a hard world to be bringing children up. Just allow me to inspire you and encourage you. It's like this total momfoolery, as I said. Fantasy families you see on the internet. This fiction, this fake motherhood, this supermom thing, as I've discussed. Yeah, they're walking around their house in bridesmaids gowns. And as I said, please don't make things homemade that you're going to choke your children on. I love to cook homemade stuff, but that is not a good idea. And sharing that online should be illegal. And then we have the opposite extreme with these disgusting, filthy, lazy mom, whatever they are, on TikTok or wherever. I mean, they have rats running through their house and the house is filthy and they're making money off that. I mean, come on. That's just sad. Feeding their children candy and marshmallows. All right, so, and then, we have this one expert after another who have no actual lived day-to-day experience with babies and children giving their new, ever-changing advice. I've lived long enough to see that this child-raising advice changes all the time. So take it with a grain of salt. Guess what? Many times there really is no right or wrong way to do something as a parent. I've seen all backgrounds. I've seen people who their kids go to daycare centers. They have different nannies come into the house. They share a nanny or share a childcare provider, rotate. I've seen it all. It can be successful in so many different ways. So these crazy ideas should not be on your worry list. This is my message. You're all doing a great job. I think we can all help each other. I have people talk to me all the time. There's a way that maybe you can find a balance, and maybe you can get advice from people that you can trust and absorb some insights, observe others. I think there's a way. Be humble, but also you do have to trust yourself sometimes. You do know your own children. If there's too much information, as we know. So my final thoughts are, please remember that not all advice is worth listening to. Not everyone out there who calls themselves an expert is an expert. And I'm going to conclude my rant about this particular expert. So this now concludes the nanny versus the expert part 2.